Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Say Report. This is Siegen Sarowick with my co-host, Devin Decker.
I thought we weren't going to use the co-host thing. I thought we
Oh,
weren't going to use that. That's for like a dirty word, right?
yeah,
And
right.
I'm joined by Devin Decker. That might be. You know what? This is my fault. I said, Siegen, take the opening, and of course, right out of the gate, you fail me.
Well,
As you've already failed me because you didn't see John Wick Chapter 2 this weekend.
come on, man. I wanted to. I've been dying to get out to see that movie. I love that first movie, man.
I know,
Like,
I know you do. I couldn't believe you hadn't seen it
I know.
3 months after the fact.
Man, and then when I saw it, it was eye-opening. Like, it's what action movies were supposed to be all along.
All right, suck it up to John Wick 1. You are forgiven, sir. But I got to tell you, having gotten out to see John Wick Chapter 2, it is what action movie sequels are supposed to be.
Good. And I have to, I mean, like, without giving anything away, because I don't want you to spoil it for me. I don't give a fuck about the audience. But like the concept of John Wick, for anybody that doesn't know, was that it was two guys had created it that like designed action scenes and knew a lot about like how the body actually works and how weapons actually work. So like the scenes are geared in a way to be as realistic as possible. So like things like he reloads after every 8 rounds and things like that, which you can actually watch. He reloads like a motherfucker in that first movie. Like, so things like that. Does that hold up for 2, or does that just go out the window to just make
Not
it?
only does it hold up for 2, a la the first scene in Deadpool, he has a certain amount of bullets for one scene. And because you know that, you're counting along to make
That's
sure
amazing.
that he is not going over that number.
That's awesome.
And
That's good.
that was the most fun that I had in the movie. And of course, that's because I'm math minded, and I'm a little archery or Rain Man-y, whatever, when it comes to knowing if a gun should be out or not. Anyway, so that scene was that was the cherry on top of a fantastic sequel for me.
Awesome. Fantastic. Cool. Yeah, so I got to get out and see that.
Yeah,
Man, but I didn't get out because my goal this week was to try and get out and to at least see Lego Batman, if not Lego Batman and John Wick 2. And it didn't happen. I'm so upset. But the problem is everybody around here is still sick, and I'm the one not sick anymore. So now I'm like running around taking care of everybody. And it's fucking killing me, man.
Well, you know what? I don't know. I mean, like, clearly sickness trumps, right? But I don't know if you're aware that over here in Rhode Island, we've been in the grips of a snowpocalypse. Winter has come all in one weekend. I'm sure you've seen the memes.
Oh, yeah, man. I heard you got a foot of snow one day and then like 5 inches another day. What are you all doing over there?
20 inches total, tabulated altogether. What I'm doing is not going to work. Because I'm still in a rental car. My car is getting some body work done. And the first rental car, like the first minor snow event, I say minor because there was a 46 cars that were in accidents throughout all of Rhode Island.
Yeah.
And one of them was, I think it was 12 cars piled up in Coventry.
Well, in Massachusetts, they had a 55 car pileup on
Right,
95.
but that was
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that was the bigger event. Like the pregame to the big snow event was like it wasn't terrible, but you know I just my brakes went out and I hit the back of an F-150, and that was in a rental car too. So I've been very cautious with the fact that I'm still in a rental car and don't want to get into another accident. So
Oh,
I have.
man. Scary
I
stuff over there.
I have
Everybody's
been
okay.
Yeah, I think everyone that we know, I'm fairly certain is good. The family well, and really the way is that I've just stayed in the house. The fact that I got out to John Wick 2, I chastise you because I was able to brave it in a storm, and that's really just because
Walked up 9 miles in both directions uphill to go and see this movie.
Can I tell you, I'm so upset that John Wick Chapter 2 is only third in the theater. It got beaten by Lego Batman, which can't surprise me, right? The Lego movie was a global phenomenon.
Yeah,
Global phenomenon.
And then you add to that the fact that it's a Batman movie, which
Right.
doesn't matter how many times DC fucks up a superhero movie. All they have to do is slap Batman on it, and everybody's
going to see Batman, and thank you, Tim Burton. That is it. Thank you, Tim Burton, or is it thank you the 1960s Adam West?
Oh no, it's definitely Burton, because if it wasn't for Burton like making his version of it, showing people what Batman could be, you know what I mean? We would still be stuck with that Batman like TV show Adam West stuff as like our Batman. I guarantee it.
You know what? Yeah, you're right. If Tim Burton never made his version of Batman, every house in America would not somewhere have a copy of Batman Forever's soundtrack.
Exactly. Kiss from a Rose would just not be a thing for us.
I mean,
How
Kiss from a
terrible
Rose
would
was
that
a
be?
song, and that song brought it back. How is that song like? Yeah, we'll just grab this old Seal song, right?
Yep.
That'll be fine. And then like, I don't know why Kiss from a Rose has been in my head. It happened in something that I watched, and I can't remember what, and that's very disappointing. I'm sure it'll cycle back into my head. But as I was watching it, I was reminded of it was Lip Sync Battle. It was the song on Lip Sync Battle because for some reason my family watches Lip Sync Battle, and
I can't imagine why. I'm surprised your family hasn't been on Lip Sync Battle.
we're not famous enough. That's the big problem. It's all celebrities. But so Kiss from a Rose comes on, and I was thinking about like that. Now, don't sing the song, Devin. I was thinking about how everybody owns a copy of the Batman Forever soundtrack, and then I also thought of I saw Eric Andre when he came through Boston, like just as the Eric Andre show was starting to get big, and what he did was he played Kiss from a Rose, like just the song, but no lyrics, just like the track and the entire audience. He was just sitting at his desk. The entire audience knew every single word to Kiss from a Rose. It was insane. Because here's the thing. I got there early. I was front row center, right? Like, and he looked at me at one moment and he's just like, it's still going. Like, I thought this was going to be like, people would know like maybe the first part of it. And like the sheer look of terror in his eyes was like, this was just supposed to be a bit, and now I gotta sit here as the audience serenades me with Kiss from a Frickin' Rose.
That's amazing, man. That's such a great moment.
Oh, it was super cool. It is one of those songs that has just made its way into the hearts and minds of America. And that's why everybody saw Lego Batman and not John Wick. But then also 50 Shades Darker, which I don't know if you've seen 50 Shades of Grey.
We can talk about some of that. Yeah, let's talk about some of that right now. Okay. So I'm aware of the 50 Shades of Grey phenomena, and then did end up going to see the first movie. I don't know if anybody's heard. It's kind of a big thing.
Did you go alone or did you go with someone?
Oh, we went as a group. Like a group of us went just because like we felt like we kind of had to. It was, like you and I still go to the movies a lot, but there was a time when we were going like every week, or I was.
It was 2007. And they had just introduced Cheap Tuesdays to every theater, not just the Dirt Theater.
Right.
And we could see movies for $5.
Right.
And we would do it. We saw movies for $5.
We would see at least 2 movies a night, right?
Yes.
And so I still do that. Not everybody does, but it was one of those weird movies where I was like, well, I'm going to go just because I go to everything. And then a bunch of people around me were like, well, if you're going to go, we should all just go and check this out, right? And man, I have never been more bored in my life. Like, that is that movie's cardinal sin to me, is that it's just boring. Like, the soundtrack is amazing, and I think that I think it's Lionsgate, right, that does like all of those movies.
Yeah,
or is it Legend or something? Yeah,
I don't know.
Whoever it is that's producing those movies, and I include Twilight in that stuff, is they do a really good job of getting a really good soundtrack, and then like there's a lot of really good visuals, right?
Yeah.
So they end up just being giant music videos for me for like an hour and a half, and I mean, like, I don't know, man. I love The Weeknd, so that soundtrack is phenomenal. Yeah.
Well, my mileage varied with 50 Shades of Grey. I saw it alone. It was just me and literally every other couple available to go see the film.
Mm-hmm.
And
oh yeah, no, the theater was full of couples. We were definitely the only like group there.
Full of couples, and it's just Devin Decker, like table for one. And I watched it, and like you said, like it's kind of boring, but it's also fascinating to me. Like, you know how like sometimes when you're clicking through cable, I don't know if you still have cable, but like when you're flipping through cable and like a movie comes on and you'll just leave it on. 50 Shades of Grey has become that for me, and I can't believe that movie became that I watched that movie multiple times just like as a time sink. It fascinates me, that entire world.
It feels like a 70s art house film. In that they're like, let's just explore this type of relationship and not really like put an opinion on that. Like, it's real weird. Like it's not supportive of those kinds of relationships at all. Like the BDSM stuff and all that in it is very poorly represented actually. And then on top of that, it's not against it because like
because they're doing
everybody,
it.
yeah, and it's not really causing that crazy of consequences for them, right? Like it's actually working for them.
That's
So
sort of
like
like
there's
the effed up thing about it, because that's why it's a boring movie. Is because like there's really no conflict there.
exactly like the biggest conflict is like she's just not sure it's what she wants, but in the end it's what she wants.
Oh,
And it's like
dude, the first time that he like spanks her, spoilers for 50 Shades of Grey, fuck it. The first time he spanks her, it's after they've gone through that whole like, I'm gonna sign a contract and you have to tell me you're okay with this. And then when she looks at him, she's like, "You hurt me." I'm like, "Fuck you! What did you think he was gonna do?"
yeah. Like, I mean, I don't know.
That
man.
is funny every time, and I don't mean to like be rude about it. It's just like, where's your brain?
You understand that people that don't sign contracts practice spanking on a regular basis in their sex lives. This is just the beginning. All right, anyway.
Did you read the contract? Because like I had sex with you before you signed the contract, Anastasia.
I can't believe that they actually made a second one. I will be entirely honest.
Neither
I know
can
the
I.
first one. I know the first one made money, but it did not make nearly as much as that genre of film is supposed to make, quote unquote. You know what I mean?
Exactly. It didn't make Hunger Games money. Like
It didn't
Divergent,
make-
even though Divergent is dying on the vine, and I'd love to jump back to that.
Yeah.
It made that first Divergent film made the money for them to be like, yeah, franchise.
And let's like pump the other two out immediately, right?
Yeah, let's
we'll have to
bump
do a
bump.
YA game
Let's
for
cut
sure,
let's
but,
cut the
like,
third one in half.
right.
Like let's strike while the iron is hot.
Right. And if it wasn't for Twilight, really, like you could blame Harry Potter in a way if you wanted to.
I blame Hunger Games if I'm gonna blame
Well,
anything.
but I think that if you look at didn't Twilight hit a little bit before?
Twilight hit a
Hunger
little
Games?
bit before.
Yeah, and I
But
think
Hunger
that's
Games-
like Hunger Games kind of got swept up in like I may
Well,
have that.
I don't know. No, because Twilight happened, but Twilight was such a phenomenon. I think people would have seen those no matter what. Because of Twilight, Hunger Games was able to like sneak in under the door. It was Indiana Jones's hat of the YA genre, and it snuck in. And they made that movie for like the difference between the quality of the first Hunger Games film and the second is astronomical.
Yes.
My biggest issue with the Hunger Games is it looks like garbage.
The first one.
Yeah, the first movie
Yeah.
looks terrible.
It looks cheap. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And then like I saw that and I'm like, I don't want to watch the rest of these. But I was trying to see as many movies as I could, and I'm like, well, I don't want to go into Mockingjay Part 1 without having seen the other two.
Yeah.
And then I started Catching Fire, and I got to tell you,
whatever it is. Yeah.
what?
Catching Fire. You said it right. I said it wrong. Don't
Yeah.
worry. Keep going.
And I caught fire. I was freaking hooked on the Hunger Games stuff. I went back and I read the books. That's how good Catching Fire is compared to Hunger Games.
Catching Fire is actually, I think, the best one out of the four of them. But yeah.
Oh yeah, that's because they made terrible. If you're gonna cut the last movie in half, there's a time and a place to do that. And that time and a place, I love doing this. I love saying how I would have done a movie differently. When freaking PETA hits her with the tray, and she blacks out, fucking credits.
Right.
That's it. Because then I'm like, what? I don't need a summation speech of the movie I just watched. You know where you put the summation speech? At the start of the next one. In case anyone didn't see the first one.
Oh, or after credits. That would have been amazing.
Oh my god.
If that had been the after credits scene, was her waking up to Philip Seymour Hoffman and then like just like a little bit of that speech. Oh my god. That would have been amazing.
Yeah.
No, you're right. Yeah. So
But
there's this
okay,
whole,
yes.
like, wave of stuff that happens. And I should make I feel like we should make it clear, we understand that 50 Shades of Grey is not a YA novel, but it very much is born out of that series.
Oh dude,
that, like,
it is
that whole
it started
wave
as
of
Twilight
the
fan fiction.
Right, exactly.
So
So we're not recommending that you take your kids, but
but But I'm not recommending you don't take your kids. Let's normalize this stuff early. No, but
but that's the other side of it, is that also on top of all of that, not only are the movies themselves just boring, but like the hook is like how kinky they are, and you go now and like it's old news. Like I don't know how to like. It's not. You know what I mean? It's not. it's not like
I've had sex
Peter
3.5
Pan.
times, and I've been kinkier than Christian Grey and Anastasia Steele were in the first 50 Shades of Grey.
Right.
I've had sex more than 3.5 times. I've just been watching a lot of Will and Grace, and that's like my favorite joke that they make. But yeah.
Yeah.
Kinkier stuff is out there.
So 50 Shades Darker comes out, and like I said, I cannot believe they even made this movie
I
because
can't
that
either.
first one didn't make bank for them. Like it made money. It's just not like the big blow up success that I think they wanted it to be. I don't know if they ever believed it would be, but man, they wanted it to be huge. I mean, they put out all sorts of stuff for that movie, as much as they could in regular stores, and then they even hit adult bookstores and like put a bunch of 50 Shades stuff out in that too. Like they wanted that to be a huge fucking thing, and it never became one, right? Like
No, it didn't. It did not
and then
hit
all
the
of a
way they
sudden,
wanted
this
it
movie
to.
just fell out of nowhere.
And but here's the thing: I'm so excited to see this one. Like the first one, I'm like, this is gonna be a friggin' chore, but I'm trying to see as many movies as I can this year. And now this one, I'm like, oh, I get to see Anastasia and Christian again. Oh, and there's conflict because there's actually fucking conflict. The trailer tells me that there's like another guy. Jacob is in on the picture.
Yeah, got to get the werewolves in on this one.
Fuck you, man. But seriously, I'm very excited. And that was number 2, and then coming in third place, John Wick Chapter 2. So all sequels, right?
Surprised.
That's freaking crazy, right?
Also not surprising nowadays. Like you say that's crazy, but I bet if you actually looked over the last few years, that's just been the case. It feels like that, you know?
It does, but I mean, like, for them all to perform the way that they performed. Sequels usually don't have this type of performance unless it's a Marvel movie.
Yeah.
Or I guess a Disney movie. Let's just put it all under that same umbrella. But even that, I saw John Wick 3. I saw John Wick Chapter 2 at 1:00 on Friday, and it was still bad out. Like the roads were not great, but I wanted to see the movie. Like I was upset that the snow kept me from seeing it on Thursday night, and I'm like, this is my opportunity. The roads are not frozen yet. They're a little bit wet. They're still a little bit rocky, but if I go out to a 1:00 movie, I am home by 4:00. I can deal with that. And I figured also, not going to be a lot of people there. The theater was like freaking full. I've never been in them. I try to avoid crowds. I usually go to like very early morning stuff or very, very late night stuff to avoid the crowds because, as we've both said, there is nothing sweeter than being the only person in a movie theater.
Oh, yeah.
So I try to arrange my life that way. And I get there, and there are 2 people when I walk into the theater, which I'm pretty sure they plexed and good on them because the guy said, oh, you're the first ones to buy tickets for this to us. So I'm like, oh, I see those 2 people. I'm like,
they're real bad at that then.
Good for you guys. And then it just filled like so many people. And like you say, like it was a lot of like older fathers and sons. And it was just like, I was like, I want it to be number 1. It's not going to be number 1. It has 2 hurdles to clear. But for this many people to be here on a shitty weather day, the day that it came out at 1 p.m., this makes me happy. This makes me realize that I'm not the only one who loves John Wick.
Well, you know, man, like when that first movie hit, it wasn't expected to do much, and then like you and I were the kinds of people to go and see it, right?
Right.
But people have been talking about it, man. Like for a long time, I've heard a lot of people be like genuinely surprised by it, and I'm happy. Like you said, like I'm glad to know that there are other people out there that enjoy this sort of stuff because like it's such a cool project. The idea that it's a passion project for those 2 guys that created it, that Keanu Reeves, knowing them through various movie projects like The Matrix and stuff like that, was like on board with them the whole time. Like it's kind of like the Deadpool story. Like it just kind of warms your heart a little bit to know that movies can still get made that way and like you're saying, be successful. You know?
Yeah.
Like that's really cool.
Well, there's no doubt that the reason that John Wick came out when it came out was to try to catch the fire of the Deadpool trend from last year.
Right.
They're like, people are first of all, February used to be just as big a wasteland as January. Right. January only survived because you had like Oscar holdovers that people hadn't seen yet. And then February
or
sucked.
Stuff coming back out because
they
got nominated for Oscars so they could actually re-release stuff. Yeah.
It was Oscar.
And then
February was awful. And thank God for the Lego movie, because the Lego movie showed them, oh no, you can have a successful movie in February, just make it friggin' awesome.
Yeah, right.
People don't want to see crap. People don't want to see Labor Day. Sorry, I like Kate Winslet and Josh Brolin as much as the next guy. Actually, I really like that movie too. I'm not trying to be rude, but like that's not the movie people want to see.
Right.
Like that's not like, oh, people are not going to rush out and spend $1 billion on tickets to see Labor Day. It's not going to happen.
Especially, there's something to be said about the idea that, especially not at that time of year, right? Like, if it's gross and cold out and people are getting into car accidents all around me, you know what I want to go see? I want to go see a Lego movie.
Yeah, right. Because
that's why I'm going to the movie that day.
It needs to be destination viewing. That's what February needs to be. It needs to be the kind of thing where you schedule it. And I mean, really, that's what the cinema has become. You're seeing a Marvel movie Memorial Day weekend.
Right.
You know that's happening. You have that in the books. You know that
you're going to see a Transformers on 4th of July.
I'm so excited for the last night. I finally saw a trailer, and I'm super excited.
Yeah, man. Oh, man. Yeah, Optimus has to go dark. I'm scared. I'm worried.
Yeah, and it's so funny because, like, Fast and Furious, right? The Fate of the Furious, the 8th movie in that series, and The Last Night, both of them are, good guy fighting against the rest of the team. And it's like, you guys tried. You guys tried to be part of the 2016 everybody fighting themselves trend. But then you're like, you know what? We're going to wait.
We're going to hold off.
Because, well, let's see if people actually dig it. Because people didn't really like Batman fighting Superman, but they loved Iron Man fighting Captain America.
Oh, man.
That's on Netflix, by the way. Civil you know what War. You should do right now? Pause this if you're listening. What you're listening? Pause this and go watch that scene at the airport. I hope that if you're listening to this, you've already seen Civil War, and if you haven't watched the whole movie, it's a little boring in that. But just watch the airport scene again because it's on Netflix and you can do that. You can start every day with the airport scene. And why wouldn't you? It's so good, Sachin. It's so good.
That's Devin's weekly PSA.
Oh, dude, I'm just... Is that going to become a trend now? Did I just... I'm serious, though. It's the best part of that movie. That movie was not as perfect as I think it could have or should have been, but they nailed that. They nailed the superhero fight.
Someday in the coming months, we're going to have a big old talk about Marvel stuff, and we'll have that fight then. Because I loved Civil War. It's not my favorite. I still stand by Winter Soldier being the best thing that Marvel has done yet. But yeah, we'll talk about some Civil War for sure.
Excellent. This is good. This is really kind of like an Origins episode. It's like a teaser and Origins type bingadonga.
We got a lot to talk about, Evan. We got a lot to say.
We have a lot to say. Fuck you.
Hey, man, this is why you pay me the big bucks.
That is why I pay you the big bucks. So the check's clearing. I know there was a problem in the payroll. You know what? Let's not do that here. But yes, so go see John Wick Chapter 2. If you haven't, go see the Lego Batman movie because it's #1 in the country. I don't freaking know. This is what we got. This is what I have this week. I've been locked in my house. I've played so many video games. You know what I did? I did a randomization of Super Mario World.
Really? How did you randomize Super Mario World? So, well, I guess we should take this back one more step because even I'm not entirely clear on the concept of randomization in general.
Okay.
So, yes, let's do that.
All right. So what randomization is? It was first brought to me by Pokemon. A friend of mine randomizes Pokemon, and what that does is all of the trainer battles, they'll have different Pokemon than what you're used to. So Brock, instead of having an Onix and a Geodude, he'll have anything else. He'll have like a Jigglypuff and a Mewtwo. And you're like, well, damn, I'm not ready to fight that stuff this early. So you can also randomize what you encounter. So instead of seeing like Pidgeys and Rattata in that first Route 1, you yourself could run into a Mewtwo. So it really randomizes what you're going to run into.
Okay, so pause for a second.
Yeah.
So like when you go to Brock and say you go to Brock and he has those two and then you lose, does that mean the next time you go to him, he might have completely different Pokemon?
No,
so you're never sure what you're going to get?
Once you randomize the game, it is set in the code. So he'll always have those. So
you can still plan to fight Brock if he has like a Mewtwo, for instance, so you can still plan that. You just don't know what he's going to have the first time you meet him.
Exactly. He's not going to have what you expect him to have.
Okay, cool.
So I was excited about that because, I like Pokemon. I don't mind it, but it gets a little boring. But the fact that I could run into literally anything as I'm walking through the patches of grass makes me feel like more of a Pokemon trainer. I'm not going to lie. And it revitalizes an experience that, when I was a kid, I caught all 150 Pokemon twice. I caught it in my red and I caught it in my blue. So like I'm a little tired of it. So it's nice to have a fresh take. And
Yeah,
then
yeah.
so I won't shut up about this. I won't shut up about randomized Pokemon. And a friend of mine goes, "Oh, you know they randomized the Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past," and that blew my fucking brain up
That's
because
amazing.
I love that game.
Well, and for a lot of people, that spiritual sequel that they just put out a
Link
couple of
Between Worlds
years ago,
for
Link Between
3DS.
Worlds. The big thing that they did in Link Between Worlds was kind of that idea. They took that map from Link to the Past and like they gave you the ability to pick up different items in different ways, so you could kind of do what you wanted. And that was like a big thing that everybody loved about that. So it's cool to think about being able to go to Link to a Past and just completely set it for that way.
Exactly. Exactly. And what that does, and we've talked about it, touched on it literally, is literally everything in every chest has been changed. So,
Cool.
like, the big chest in the first palace is going to give you the bow and arrow. No, 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 no. You might get the hook shot. So, you know, I can't beat the first boss, but I can go climb Death Mountain right now because I have the hook shot already.
Right.
So, it really, you have to rethink the way that you experience that game. And that I have fallen in love with, to the fact that like I got sent some betas of like the new version of how they randomize it, because now the pendants and the crystals now do not appear in the dungeon that they're supposed to. Those are part of the randomization.
Oh
So
no.
you might beat the first dungeon and get like the seventh crystal, and I'm like, well, that's great because I would like to see what Sahasrahla has for me, but I need to get the green pendant to do that. So
Oh no.
so it really changes that experience. So
I mean, does it break it? Because some of this sounds like it would straight up break the game.
I have only played one where it almost broke the game for me. And even then I was able to soldier through because I thought about it. But there was a time I had like explored, I had gone to every chest I knew, and I'm like, I can't go to the dark world. I don't have the moon pearl. There's no way for me to be human in the dark world. This game is broken. The moon pearl must be in the dark world. So and I'm like thinking about it a couple of days, and I'm like, you know what? There were 3 chests I couldn't get to because I didn't have bombs, because like at the bottom of the sanctuary or whatever. And then I'm like, no, but I have the cape. Oh my god! What it wants me to do is go fight Agahim, so that I can get a bomb in the room before him, and then trek back to the bottom and blow up that wall. And sure enough, there was the moon pearl, the thing that was holding me back, right there. And I'm like,
Jesus.
so I thought it was broken. I literally, because unfortunately it can happen. Like they do a lot of testing, like that beta that they sent to me. It's like they're like, you know, we're just having people who do this a lot, you know, play through it, see if they find any problems, and then if you do, just report it to us. You know, like a beta for anything. But this is a beta of guys who like are just sitting at their computers messing with the code of Link to the Past. They're not getting any money for that. They're just having fun with the game.
Awesome.
It's such a love for this game that's creating this. And, you know, you play through them and, like, you have to completely rethink the way that you play the game. And, you know what? I've played through at least 20, and I've only had that one experience where I thought I was stuck. And it turns out it was just because I did something out of order.
Yeah. Man, that's wild. So they've been doing that with Super Mario then.
Yeah, so I'm on a kick of it. And like, you know, you type in randomize into YouTube and it's gonna like point you in the direction of other stuff. And I found out that they randomized Super Mario World. Now this one, all of the levels are not where they're supposed to be. In the one that I played, the first 2 levels that I could access, what would be Yoshi's Island 1 and Yoshi's Island 2, was
Right.
Butter Bridge. The first Butter Bridge, one of the hardest levels in the game, and there's no way for me to get a cape. Like, I'm just like, oh, okay, I guess I got to do, like, the really trying platform level, like, as the first thing I do. That's fun. Or I could go to, I think it was Wendy Koopa's Fortress, which is the one with, like, precision jumping, and so it wasn't great. Plus, part of the randomization of this one is you can make the boss fights harder. So instead of 3 hits to kill the boss, it was 6, and the lava in the room, like, rose and sunk.
Oh man.
So like it really was like, yeah, the gloves are off, kid. You think you're good at Super Mario World?
I mean, this becomes like Meat Boy level to the point of like impossibility. Like,
Yeah, that yeah. But I cleared them, and then once I cleared them, like there's some other cool stuff too, like a level that isn't usually a water level will just be all water. So like you have to swim a level that you're used to like running and jumping.
Weird. Cool.
Yeah, not that was like one that I had a problem with because like it was always flying like levels where like you need to be like really good jumping and stuff that then had water, and I'm like, well, this is easy now, right?
Now there's
all the
nothing to do.
challenges taken out. But then they also randomize where the keys are. The keyholes stay where they are, but the key usually is right next to one of those areas.
Right,
Oh
right,
no. Like Star World #1, that's you break blocks and then you have to get to the key in the hole. The key was on the very bottom. So I had to strategically break the blocks so that I could carry up the key with me.
Oh man.
And
sucks.
That was a wall for me for a
That's
while.
amazing.
Yeah. And that was the thing, is that like a lot of the levels I'm like, I still know the game. So like even the stuff you're throwing at me, like changing the enemies and stuff, it's not really changing it for me. But then I come up against something like that and I'm like, and this legitimately makes me use my brain to solve this puzzle. So
Man,
this
sounds awesome, but it sounds like something that I would want to watch you do and not have to do myself.
It does require a certain level of skill. Like I'm not trying to be whatever about this, but a friend of mine saw that I was doing the randomized Zelda. Randomized Zelda. I can say the words. And tried to do one himself. He's like, "Can you send me one of those? I want to try it." But rather than like do it like just on his own, he did it like live on YouTube that first time, and he got real discouraged because like where he would usually be after 5 hours of gameplay, he still hadn't beaten the first dungeon. And like, so it's something difficult to wrap your head around.
Yeah.
You need to know the games before you're playing remixes of them.
Right. Well, in a weird way, that's kind of what this feels like, right? Is like Nintendo kind of made a false promise with those remix games a few years back, because they offered what I thought was going to be this kind of thing, and what we got with those remix games was like,
it was WarioWare. It was Wario.
Yeah.
It was just 9 volts WarioWare.
Right. So like it was cool for what it was, but I had really wanted what sounds like what you're getting from this stuff, of them taking these old games that I've played a million times and know every inch of, and give me something new to do with them. Like that's amazing.
Yeah.
But these are just dudes in their basements doing this.
Well, they're at their computers. It's not necessarily in their basements. I'm the dude in the basement. But it is these people who like love the game so much. And then like there's also a whole other offshoot of the Zelda stuff where people place what they want in the chests. So like I did one where every chest in the cave that you need the hook shot for gave you a hook shot. And I'm like, well, that's not helpful. I already have the hook shot. Thanks.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I get that same feel when I'm playing Mario Maker. There's a lot of levels that people make that are just mean, but then there's the other side of that coin of everybody making levels just to make like everybody happy, and it's like, hey, you just run through these 1-up fields for a while and then to get to the end, and it's like, this is great, but like I want to actually play Mario levels. That's why I'm playing this, guys. Like, it's fantastic that there's this one that's just burping coins at me for an hour, and then I time out. Yeah, magically just time out and die, and that's actually how you finish somehow. All right.
Yeah, it's Mario Maker. My big problem with Mario Maker, the way that I play video games is totally, I try to solve the problem the easiest way possible. And because Mario Maker, and I got it day one, I bought it day one, you have to be able to finish a level in order to post it, which is smart, because there are plenty of like Little Big Planet levels that I'm like, this guy never beat this, fuck you.
Yeah, for sure. I actually got stuck in one the other day because like I ran into a piece of geometry that there's no way you could get by, and in Little Big Planet, and I was just pissed because like I was on such a good run of really good levels, and then I hit this one that just sucked. Yeah.
And that's the thing. So like Nintendo, that was a smart thing that Nintendo did, but because people are people, it's very easy to like put your little shortcut right to the end, and then like no one's gonna think to look there. That's all I'm looking for, are those little shortcuts. So what Super Mario Maker became for me was breaking these levels that these people had made.
Well, yeah. And I mean, there's some merit in that, man. Like trying to work out what people were thinking when they put those levels together sometimes is actually a game in and of itself for me, you know?
Yeah, I think the problem is that I got in on it too early.
Oh, that might also be the case, man. If you were playing it day one, you should go and check it out now if you still got it, because like,
Well, actually, I got rid of my Wii U, unfortunately, because I sold it for a Switch. I'm getting a Switch. I got one pre-ordered. I'm very excited about it.
Really?
Yes. Oh, do you want to
Huh.
switch it up, Stephen?
Oh, there you go. So you're getting in on it now. Yes, I
Yeah.
like this. Tons around, man. Um, I am surprised to hear that you are as in on the Switch as you are already. I have to be
Well,
honest.
can I tell you one of the reasons why I'm as in on the Switch as I am? It
Why?
looks like Breath of the Wild is another continuation of Link to the Past, and literally that's what I've been doing since September, is playing through Link to the Past
But
and
I will
learning Link
point
to the
out,
Past.
you are probably going to get to be able to play that game on a Wii U. That can't be your only reason for buying a Switch.
No, it really kind of is. I wasn't using my Wii U at all. Let's
Yeah.
be honest.
I think you're not the only one, man. If the anecdotal evidence from every news source out there is to be believed, nobody is apparently touching their Wii U's anymore. Yeah.
and the big problem is that like a lot of those games that they were, I don't even know what it was. First of all, I bought it day one, which was stupid. Like it was fun sitting in line, and I had a friend there. We played Magic in the car, and we drank Mountain Dew Game Fuel, and then we picked him up and we brought him home, and I played through New Super Mario Brothers U. I mean, at least they were smart enough to have a Super Mario Brothers game available day one, right? I will give Nintendo all the credit. They just didn't have anything else to follow that up with.
Not for a while. It took them a long while to find something else to find its footing on that system. You know, like they had some good stuff up front though. Zombie U is also super interesting. Nintendo Land had some stuff in it that was pretty good. I found that the Wii U, I never ended up getting my own. I was thinking about it because I had owned a Wii and I had owned almost every Nintendo system before that, I think, except for maybe like a Virtual Boy, and I think I had a cousin that had one, right? Like so like
I don't think
love
anybody
Nintendo.
ever really owned a Virtual Boy. Let's think.
I remember sitting
That's
at
some
their table with
Mandela
that
effect
headset in
kind of
front
shit.
me.
I'm not gonna lie.
I remember sitting at a fucking kitchen table when I was like 6 years old with the headset on the table in front of me and my head in it and the controllers in my hand. And all I remember thinking is, I have the worst headache of my life. I've never had a headache this bad before. I was like 6 and I was like, is my head about to explode? Man. So like, I love Nintendo. I will go through pains to play Nintendo
Wait,
games.
hold up! I got a Virtual Boy story because this is it boggles my mind. Like it really feels like alternative facts whenever I think back to it. There was a standalone Sears in Gardner, Massachusetts, not connected to a mall, just a Sears. Like you rarely see that, right? Like usually it's buoyed to a mall, and we used to go there, and I don't know why we would shop at Sears. I can't imagine why my family ever shopped at Sears, but they had a video game section that
because
had.
they sold pants that had boxers sewn into them. Sorry, keep going.
Do they do that?
Yes, they straight up, they had saggy pants where it looked like they were saggy pants and they had boxers sewn into them.
Oh,
Anyway.
I thought it was more like a bathing suit. Like,
No,
you don't need to
no.
wear. It's like a liner already.
It was not full boxers. It was just the illusion of
Oh,
boxers.
okay. No, that wasn't a trend yet. But the video game section at the Sears had a Virtual Boy, and that was the way to play Virtual Boy because like it was set up and it was stuck there, so you always get a good angle.
For it.
Exactly. Yeah. And it had Wario Land. And I freaking love the Wario games. Like it's just those games work for me on a level that I will never understand. I remember going to Sears with my mother and literally just sitting there and playing for an hour and a half the Wario game on Virtual Boy.
You know what else that Virtual Boy had that a home one wouldn't have had? Pink eye. Covered in pink eye.
Yeah, but I brought the pink eye. That was my fault. But going ahead. So you didn't buy a Wii U.
Shut for 6 months when I was a kid.
They thought it was going to have an eye patch, to strengthen the other eye. I just got pink eye.
So moral of the story, I never bought a Wii U because it became the system to go over to a friend's house and play. Like I had enough friends that owned one that if I ever wanted to get my Wii U fix, I could get it that way. You know what I mean? And I think this goes back to what you were saying, is there just wasn't enough on it to merit me owning one of my own, Like,
the unfortunate thing is I was the guy who had the Wii U that everybody came over to play.
Right. That depends on one of my friends being a real sucker.
But I think of it like game wise, like even Mario Kart 8, it was boring. Like I was
I love
bored
Mario.
with it.
I think that there's a lot going on with the Nintendo stuff on the Wii U that should not be forgotten. I actually really loved a lot of what happened in Mario Kart 8. But being said, I hadn't really touched a Mario Kart, even the Wii one. I hadn't really touched a Mario Kart since Mario Kart 64. So what Mario Kart
Oh
8
shit,
did for me,
dude.
Mario Kart 8 did for me was like I had played Double Dash, I had played a couple of, like I had played the Wii one with you guys all the time.
Yeah.
It's just that it was the first time that I had a Mario Kart game that like I was playing, like I was going for trophies, I was going for stars, I was completing since I had Mario Kart 64. Like that was the last time that I was like I want to complete this. So like Mario Kart 8 worked for me because it was the first one that I had put that much like attention on,
Okay, then 100% I get it now.
Yeah.
Because if you didn't touch it, like that is oh my god, that's 5 iterations of Mario Kart that you would just not even. That's 6, right? Because Mario Kart 64 was the second one.
Yeah, I believe so.
So that's you didn't touch GBA, Double Dash, even just a little bit. Like Double Dash is what brought me in. Because like
Double Dash is one that I played at people's houses and didn't like because I still had the Mario Kart 64 and I hated the whole 2 driver concept. Now I get it, but when I was like when it was a thing, I was just like, why would I do this with 2? I've got this whole other thing at home that's so much more. Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah. It blew me away because like it felt faster and it felt like having the 2 people. It brought a strategy to the game, and then I'm like, I'm never not getting a Mario Kart ever again.
Yeah.
Like so, a lot of I think every Mario Kart after that was a day one purchase for me, and again it was snow time. It was a snowy blizzard. I had to work, and then like coming home from work, they're like, what do you want to do? Because we're not going out. And I'm like, oh, let's stop by Walmart. I want to buy this Mario Kart game. And I sat and I played Double Dash as I was stuck in my house for a February snowstorm. And it was great. I never got tired of it. And then I got the DS one, and that one, that's the problem. The DS one introduced something that I really needed in Mario Kart, and that was, it had like mission-based stuff. It was more like Diddy Kong Racing. Did you do Diddy Kong Race?
And Crash Team Racing.
I didn't do any Crash Team Racing.
But yes, I did Diddy Kong Racing for a little bit.
So like the story mode of Diddy Kong Racing is one of the coolest parts of that game. Mario Kart on the DS has that sort of thing. Like you have to race a Wiggler at one point, and it's just as a Wiggler running around, and it's just such a cool thing. And that hasn't come back in any of the ones after it. But
there's a lot of stuff that's not in the battle mode in Mario Kart 8 is atrocious, which is a shame because battle mode was so good in 64
yes,
and in Super Nintendo. Super Nintendo's Mario Kart's battle mode is iconic.
The battle mode was just as good for the DS because that was part of the story. Mm-hmm. And then they brought over and then they hung their hat on online, and that freaking worked. Yeah. There were so many days that I came home from college and we just raced Mario Kart online.
Yeah.
And it was great. Like, that one really worked. And then Mario Kart 7, I think, is where I started to get fatigued with the game because I really don't like the whole you have to collect coins to unlock stuff. Yeah. I also don't like the judging my driving thing. I hate rankings in video games. And I hate that it's like the star ranking system.
7 was for
3DS.
It was for the 3DS, right? Yes, that's right.
And I bought it before a road trip, so that's what I did for most of the road trip.
Yeah.
But then, like, I was only in the car for, I'm going to conservatively say 4 hours before I had gotten the gold trophy on every 50, 100, and 150, like, thing. Like, I just didn't do mirror mode. But I had unlocked every character, and I'm like, where's my drive to keep playing? Like I have a character that works for me. What more do I need, game?
Right. And so coming back to Mario Kart for me from the Wii U was actually kind of like eye opening because I had missed all of that sort of stuff. You know? And so like seeing kind of like the fruits of all of that labor essentially coming together in Mario Kart 8 was awesome, and on top of that it just looks gorgeous. But then they also had Splatoon, which was like a big deal for Nintendo, their first online shooter, and it actually went over really well.
I never played Splatoon. Is it good? Have you played Splatoon?
I have had my hands on Splatoon for all of like 30 minutes, but I will say that as somebody that only kind of casually plays shooters, like I had a hell of a time in the 30 minutes I played with it. And so like I think I could get into it.
Well, I
The
feel
only
like
reason
if
honestly I didn't was because I didn't have my own Wii U, you know?
I'm getting the Switch, and I feel like Splatoon 2, I will probably drink the
You got
Kool-Aid on.
Yeah, you got to check it
Because
out, right? Because and then if it doesn't work for you, it doesn't work for you, but man, if that thing clicks, Splatoon 2 is going to be a huge deal, I think.
yeah, I think that's clever with the clicking. But now I have friends who bought like, oh yeah, we just bought another Wii U because we wanted to play Splatoon together. And I'm like, what? I'm like, granted, like the hardest part was probably finding a store selling a Wii U. And then you gave them $25 and they gave you a brand new Wii U. Like,
Yeah, man. But that's why like I said, I'm surprised that you're in on the Switch then, man, because like the Wii U, I am excited about the Switch, but I'm going to wait because that's what the Wii U taught me. The Wii U taught me that it's time to give Nintendo some space.
and that's very smart. It's what I did with the 3DS, and I think what it really boils down to for me, and why the Switch is something that I am going to get day one, is, well, first of all, the fact that you still can't get an NES Classic anywhere.
Girl, right?
You right? So like, if you want a Nintendo product, if you even have a passing interest in a Nintendo product, you got to go there day one, or you're going to be like shit out of luck. Is what
Yeah,
Nintendo has really taught me.
Yeah, because they have a nasty habit of throttling the amount of Wii's and Wii U's and NES's and 3DS's available.
Yeah. So guess what? So if I don't like it, I will sell it for a high markup. No, I won't. I'll get my money back, maybe 50 more. But so there's that. But also there's the fact that Nintendo has become my mobile game of choice. I had a PlayStation, I had the Vita, I had the 3DS. 3DS is what I pack and bring with me everywhere. And I do a lot of road tripping, I do a lot of traveling. So the fact that I can play a brand new Zelda and it's going to be portable, like that's what works for me. I love portable Zelda. Okay. I do. Like
I will be interested to hear how you feel about the actual portability aspects of this thing, because a lot of the weird stuff that has come out about tech-wise for this, like the analytics have all started to kind of leak out about what this thing can actually do, and I will be interested to hear how you feel about its actual portability, because a lot of the things I've been hearing about, like needing battery packs and certain controllers only working in certain ways with the way that they're plugged in, and if you have things attached to it, if you have the controllers attached to the screen, like that drains battery in a certain way. If you're playing games, different games will drain battery in a certain way. There's just been a lot of really weird stuff that's not clear yet.
Yeah,
and so like,
and I see all that, but it's just, I don't know. I love my 3DS. I honestly do.
All right. The only other thing I'll ask you about then for this portability thing is, how do you feel about the size of this thing? Because it's a bit bigger than a 3DS.
Well, here's where I would like. I still don't have a tablet, so this is kind of like baby's first tablet for me in a lot of ways as well. Okay, it's that's how I'm bridging that gap, because I had a Kindle. That was like the only sort of tablet thing I had, but the Kindle was garbage.
Do you think that do you think they'll do anything to tablet like with this thing? Because they kind of made that promise with the Wii U, and I'll be honest, the Wii U screen, they don't do much with it nowadays.
Can I tell you why I bought a Wii U? I'm the only person in America that this is the reason why I bought a Wii U, and that was for TV. The TV app. Yeah. Do you remember the TV app that they were like hanging their fucking hat on?
Yep.
Yeah, that was garbage. But like they made it seem like this is going to be the future of friggin' television. Yeah. And I'm like, this is what I've been waiting for. And no, it did not deliver. But that's the reason why I lined up at 4:00 in the morning outside of Toys R Us.
Yeah. So do you think that they're going to be able to do anything too crazy this time as far as like the tablet aspect goes?
I think that they're stupid if they don't. I think they're fucking stupid if they don't. I think that they need to, if Nintendo wants to survive creating hardware, they need to actually embrace the fact that people want to use this for more than just video games. And that's really the big problem that they've come across.
Yeah. Honestly, because if you look at them compared to PlayStation and Xbox, they just don't want to move on any of that stuff.
Nope.
As far as games go, you know.
And PlayStation 2, the reason why you and I both have PlayStation 4s is because the PlayStation 2 was not marketed as just a video game system. It was marketed as a way to get a DVD player into your house.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's how we got PlayStation, and I got a PlayStation 3 because it had a Blu-ray player on it. Like
Exactly.
straight up, that was the reason I bought a PlayStation 3 because at the time I was moving into a my first off-campus apartment in college. I was moving in with a Luke and Elise, and we got together one night and we were like, we should buy a Blu-ray player for the TV. And Luke said, well, for like $200 more, you can get a PlayStation. Because at the time, Blu-ray players were like fucking $350.
They were ridiculously.
Right?
I bought a Blu-ray player for $20.
Right.
This
and
week.
I fell into some money and it was like, well, we got to blow this on a Blu-ray player. And he was like, if we just buy a PlayStation 3, it plays Blu-rays plus you'll have a game system. And he wasn't wrong.
No, he wasn't. No, he wasn't.
So that was the reason I got a PlayStation 3.
And that's the thing.
And like, and the PlayStation 4 got me in on a lot of the promises it had over Xbox in terms of entertainment. Like the things that I was going to be able to have access to, Blu-ray wise, and all of that I just went with PlayStation again.
Yeah, 100%. I could get it. Do you know when my Wii started to get used again? My original Wii, OG Wii, which you were there when I bought it day one. You were there. I used my Footloose money. We bought Mega Man figures and a Wii. It was a good day. What got it back into rotation was the fact that it had Netflix on it. That is how we watch Netflix in the house.
Yeah, for a long time, the Wii that me and a roommate had became basically like the entertainment, like television, Hulu, Netflix, Amazon machine. Like it wasn't a video game machine anymore. For a while it was an exercise machine and a Netflix machine, but then it wasn't even an exercise machine anymore.
But then we were watching Netflix and like, who wants to fucking exercise?
Yep.
Yeah, no. I get it.
Yeah, so like the Switch will have Nintendo has some mileage to make up in terms of like being the box that you buy. If I only have so much money and I'm looking at, well, this one does video games, but this one does video games and more. Nowadays, everybody's just going to go for the and more. Like exactly. That's just what people want. Yeah.
But I feel like, and the and more of that is that it's portable, and that works for me. I don't know. Like I got to tell you, there are mornings I wake up and I'm like, why the fuck do I have a Switch pre-ordered? Why do I have 2 Switches pre-ordered? Is really the question. Like I really ask myself that every day that I wake up, and then like sometimes I'm like, oh, because the games look good, and because I love like Mario Odyssey, as stupid as it looks. Because why is his hat alive? I don't need that. I don't friggin' need your hat to be alive. I don't want to have to use his hat to jump.
Gamer, calm down.
Shut up. Old man gamer. There we go. No, it's stupid. Remember when Link's hat was alive? No, you don't, because nobody played that game.
Minish Cap? Come on, man. There you go.
That was nice. I'm glad that you knew the name. But the Minish Cap was 4 dungeons long. It was a fucking tech demo. It was not a Zelda game.
Yeah, and there's some fear that this Mario game's going to go that way too, just to show off that stuff. But like Nintendo's always been really good, minus how you feel about the Minish Cap. But like Nintendo's
no. It's just the last time that an iconic character had a living head garment.
But they've always been really good about putting that tech demo out for their stuff. That's actually like still cool to.
It's a fun game.
Around with.
Yeah, I mean, I
like think about like Wii Sports and like Nintendo Land, right? So if Mario Odyssey becomes that for the Switch, I mean, like that's cool. Like that'll be awesome.
What's that for the Switch is 1-2 Switch, and let me tell you, I'm not buying that game.
Yeah, that I can't believe that they're expecting people to pay full price for that game.
That
right
is
now.
a pack-in. How do you not pack that in? Because then people will actually be excited.
You know what it's going to be is it's going to be the first thing Nintendo knocks down to $20 to make it a Switch classic. Jesus, that's what it's going to be.
Of course it is. But I mean, you get that game, right? It uses Joy-Cons, and then you'll make up for it in the sale of Joy-Cons because the price is high. I'm very nervous about the Switch. I'm going to be honest with you. I've been like
all of the extra shit is the thing that's really surprising me. I cannot believe they expect people to buy so many extra controllers just to play certain games, even to play with just 2 or 3 people. Like this isn't like when they were like, "Hey, you can connect 8 Wiimotes if you want to go buy them." This is straight up, "Hey, if you want to play with one other person, you're going to have to spend some cash."
And then like the argument, like, yeah, but it's like such high quality what they're putting in there. And I'm like, you know what's still pretty high quality? The $60 controller I bought for PlayStation 4. And it's connected to a PlayStation 4.
Right.
God.
Well, and like the other really weird thing about a lot of this controller stuff is like, I also don't really like the layouts right now. And Nintendo has in the past changed layouts on things. Not drastically, but like if you look at the way that the controllers work and you switch them into the sideways multiplayer mode, the the
You said
controls are
Switch. I'm sorry.
that's what they want you to say, man, and I can't help it. If you change it into the multiplayer mode, there's different controls in the middle of the controller. Like the thumbstick is in the middle of the controller. That's not comfortable to use. But if you're using the other side, then your D-pad's in the middle of your controller. That's not comfortable either. I don't know. So like
No,
they're gonna
no,
have to
CJ,
like
you turn it so that no matter what, the stick is on the left and the buttons are on the right.
no, but I'm saying that they're too centered for they'll no matter what way you turn it, it's centered.
I
You
got
know
you.
what I'm
I get what
saying?
you're saying. Yeah,
Like
it's not over. It's set up.
it's right.
Yeah.
It's not to the left or the right. It is set up in a way that no matter which way you spin it, that stick is still going to be too far away from your thumb.
Well,
for you to use it.
everybody on the like Shovel Knight. I love Shovel Knight. We'll do a whole thing on Shovel Knight once the new game releases. Well, the new expansion releases. But all these people are like, I don't know if I'm going to get Shovel Knight on the Switch until they release a Joy-Con that has an actual D-pad, because I don't want a floating D-pad.
Yep.
And I'm like, what? What?
It matters, man. It
I
does.
know, and I get that it matters. Like, come on, you know how many controllers I've been testing out since September to find the perfect controller to play Zelda with? I get it.
Yeah.
But it's just...
You know what feels real nice is as far as controllers go is straight up the PlayStation 4 controller, man. Especially the ones that come with the Pro now, because they've changed up a little bit of the material that they use and stuff like that. The Pro PlayStation 4 controllers are just feel so good, and I don't know why Nintendo is so afraid to go in that direction. Like
I wonder if it's a patent problem. I honestly feel like you can't. No, that's not it. It's totally not that, because 8-Bit Dough has a Famicom recreation controller that is the exact same layout as a PlayStation controller.
And I mean, and if you look at the Xbox controllers, they're not far off from the PlayStation ones. They're different for sure, and to the point where I can say I like the PlayStation one more. But I mean, at least the Xbox one feels usable, and I'm so worried that the Switch is not going to be usable. Like it just feels like it's going to be impossible to play certain games, and in the way that they want us to play them. So I'm just nervous. So like I said, man, I just don't
want the price of the peripherals on the Switch to become a new industry standard. I want Sony and Microsoft to be smart enough to know that we can undercut this fucking gimmicky system if we still charge the same amount for our controllers.
Yeah, and I think that I don't know if Nintendo's ever really been... Like, every now and then, Nintendo becomes the leader in something nowadays, but usually they're the ones last to the table. Like motion.
Well, ever since N64, they've been last to the table because they waited another year.
The Wii and motion controls kind of caught everybody by surprise. Like they did a really good job with that.
Yeah.
But then things like, hey, online gaming, like it took.
What do you mean you want to play online? Said Nintendo.
You want to play with other people, right? Yeah, man. And then digital downloads and all that sort of stuff, and then the idea of cross-buying things still hasn't come around, because fuck me, how many times do I have to buy a game because every time I get a new system you don't let me transport my games to the new all right, anyway.
No, you could just say that. Do you know how many times I've bought Super Mario World? Super Mario World, probably my favorite game ever. Maybe.
I mean, it's a pretty perfect game.
It's that or Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past. But do you know how many times I've bought that game? 7. I've bought 7 Super Mario Worlds. 7 times I've bought that game. It's usually the first game that I buy when I buy a new Nintendo system, because it's how I'm going to test it out. But if I can play my favorite game on it, then life is good.
Yeah. So now you're going to have to buy it. You're going to have to buy it an 8th time is what's going to happen.
No, maybe I'll only have to pay. I'm going to buy it an 8th time. I can't even pretend like they're going to honor that I've bought it as many times as I had. They're not. They're not going to do it. And here's the problem, though. I'm going to buy it an 8th time. Everybody's going to buy it an 8th time.
And I want the Switch to work. I want it to be really cool, and I want Nintendo to keep being Nintendo. I've just hit a point now where it is not worth me being the one to put my money where my mouth is. You know what I mean? I want that stuff to work, but at the end of the day, Nintendo just hasn't done it for me over the last 2 iterations. The Wii blew up and it was awesome, and then it tapered off, and they stuck with it for too long. And then the Wii U came around, and it didn't do anything for me.
The Wii U, let's face it, was an expansion pack to the Wii.
Mm-hmm.
In every way. I can't believe that I still played games on my Wii. I was so disappointed by the Zelda game on that system. incredibly disappointed.
Twilight Princess or
Twilight Princess.
Skyward
I
Sword?
never even played Skyward Sword. Twilight Princess, which I own for GameCube, and I just can't bring myself to play it.
You should play the GameCube one.
Everybody says it.
It is interestingly tweaked in a way that is better, I think. There's certain things that that are different in the
But
GameCube
I felt like
one.
this is stupid. This is a gimmick. And then, like, whatever. Super Mario Galaxy was great, though. Both the Super Mario Galaxies were like almost perfect games.
Yeah, well, think of it. Sorry, not to dwell on Twilight Princess. But
No, not at all. Sorry.
Think about the idea that you don't have motion control on the GameCube. So, like, the entire gimmicky aspect that you're talking about
is gone.
Doesn't exist on the GameCube one.
Right. That's why I have a copy of it on GameCube. Someone gifted it to me.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I can't bring myself to do it. Because also, I didn't like the killing the fucking bugs stuff is.
Oh yeah, no. There's a lot of stuff.
And here I am, like, the reason I'm buying the Switch is because I want to play Breath of the Wild because I feel like it's going to be more open world. But there's probably still going to be. Oh, I can't do it. See, like I said, I've already switched my argument within an hour of conversation. Not even like 40 minutes.
We can't stop saying Switch. I'm sorry. Anyway.
I don't know. I feel. All right. Do you have anything else to add to this?
No.
Okay.
This conversation has switched me off.
Oh God. You son of a Switch.
Oh man, it's happening.
All right. Well, as always, thank you for joining us. If you're joining us just on iTunes, big news. You can also watch us on YouTube if iTunes is something that's difficult for you. Just type in the Say Report, and all of these are there.
You can't watch us.
No. It's just the static image that says the Say Report.
Anybody that wants to see our smiling faces.
No,
we'll be doing. Trying to keep some mystique.
We got stuff. We got stuff in the works maybe for you, but yeah, right now it's audio only, and but you can listen to it literally anywhere you can get audio. That's I think that's a fair promise.
Sure, there we go. Let's go with that.
Yeah, and do it. Listen, we want to hear from you too. We're at the Switch Report on Twitter or the Switch Report at gmail.com. So, if you want to get into it with the Switch, I am willing to listen. As I've just listened to
we should put the Switch Report out on vinyl.
The Say Report?
You've been saying the Switch Report for the last couple of minutes. So.
No! No, I have not. It's at the Say Report and the Say Report at gmail.com.
We're going to go back and listen, and you're not going to have me saying that, and I'm going to be the one losing my mind. That's what's going to be going on.
Wow, either way, man, it's been a crazy time. So if you want to just talk to Siegen, like, and be like, Siegen, why are you doing this for yourself? He's at Siege versus the World on Twitter.
That is B.
And
Devin?
Then, yes. This would be like if it were like real cool. You would then pick up and say, if you want to talk to Devin.
I was gonna say that, but I got caught in the moment. If you want to talk to Devin Decker, you can find him at, I don't know your Twitter handle. That's really the reason I stopped.
Oh, Devin D. Decker.
D. Decker.
Yeah.
At Twitter. There you go.
At Twitter. At Twitter.
on the tweeter.
Alrighty. Well, thank you very much for listening to the Say Report. I'm Devin Decker.
I told you I was switching off. This is Siege and Sarwick.
All right, and let's head it to Will. Have a good one.
Thank you for listening to the Say Report with your host Devin Decker and Siegen Serwick. Please follow the guys on Twitter and Facebook by searching for The Say Report, and you can always subscribe on your podcast channel so this is delivered straight to you and you can enjoy it every week. With apologies to your mother, we'll see you next time.